morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome along to the wilds of Suffolk. I'm out here yet again doing what I do, walking along in beautiful locations such as this and giving my thoughts on the things that are happening in the world in the public consciousness. If it's your first time here, welcome. I hope you enjoy what I'm doing today. If you're a returning subscriber, or 1,392 of you I think there are today, welcome back. Welcome one and all. I am honoured to have you join me for the walk. So, is it crazy enough for you yet? Is it? I'm dumbfounded every day when I wake up and I see just how stupid things are getting. But I suppose that if it wasn't so stupid, we'd all be bored, right? Right? Surely. I mean, what else are we going to do with our lives except talk about the craziness? So, today's video, I'm entitling it "Lose Lose," and you understand why I've titled it that as we go through this. But I want to make something really clear from the outset. You know, I know when I come out and talk about these things, it's usually because I'm pissed off, or I'm upset about something, or I've come out to have a rant. Come out and scream to the trees. But I do see a positive outcome. I always do. If you go back a couple of videos ago, intention contention, where I talked about I can influence the weather. Look. I mean, today, look at it. Beautiful. It's gorgeous. I'm shorts and on today. Shorts and t-shirt. Just finished a round of golf. Gorgeous morning. Like, absolutely, it couldn't be better. It's November the 6th. And here we are, and I'm still walking around in shorts and t-shirt. Well, I do anyway, but it's not cold, is what I'm trying to get to. And usually this time of the year here in the UK, it is cold. But it's gorgeous. The birds are singing. It's lovely warm out here. Gorgeous, gorgeous day. But yesterday when I was at work and I was saying to the guys I'm playing golf tomorrow, they were like, "Oh, it's going to rain in the morning, dude." I'm like, here we are. It didn't rain. Of course it didn't rain. But like I say, what I want to get to from the outset is I see a positive outcome for events. I do. I honestly see a positive outcome, because that's what happens when people are pushed hard enough to wake up. Because we've all been asleep for a long time, and I'm going to include myself in that. I mean, I've been talking about these subjects for a long, long time, but I walk around with my head up my ass as well a lot of the time, and a lot of different things. So I'm not immune to it. I'm not better than anybody else. I am just as caught up in this bullshit as everybody else is, but I do see a positive outcome. Now, that said, we'll circle back. Thanks, Jen Psaki, if you know who Jen Psaki is. So, lose. Okay. Now, the other thing I need to mention as well before we get started, I focus a lot of attention on America, okay? And I've spoken about this before. For the new people who are joining me, there's a reason for it. Because the US dollar is a world reserve currency for now, what happens in America influences the rest of the world. American politics and, banking, financial, it all stems from the US. So policy and things that are happening in the US, like Triffin dilemma, which I'll go back to in a second, influences the rest of the world. And obviously America's alignment with other countries, which we'll be speaking about today, obviously has an impact on the rest of the world as well. Okay? So, all that said, that's just the prelim for where we're going today. So, I don't know whether you've heard. The other thing is, I focus so much attention on a little country in the Middle East that shouldn't be there. Not that I'm saying they should be wiped out. The people who are watching me, you know who you are. That's not what I meant, and that's not what I meant. So there's a massive amount of influence from this little country in the Middle East that starts with an I and ends with Israel. I'm not going to bandy my words about. I'm not going to try and self-censor so I can keep my videos on here. I'm not monetizing this. I get nothing from this. Absolutely nothing. I'm not trying to sell you anything. That's not what this is about. I come out and have a talk, have a rant, talk to people, start a conversation, and then we go from there. Because if we can't start conversations, we can't talk about difficult subjects or different things that we're not allowed to talk about, or we're told we're not allowed to talk about, otherwise you'll get arrested, then the world's fucked. And I don't want to be part of it anyway. So if they want to lock me up and throw away the key, and the rest of the world's going to go down the toilet, well, it's probably better for me in prison, right? Now, lose. Now, I don't know whether you've been keeping an eye on the news cycle. I have, unfortunately. But in Israel, there was a video that was released of IDF soldiers, Israel Defense Force soldiers. There's all these young kids, and they're all brainwashed into believing that they're God's chosen people, and everybody else is a cockroach, and if you kill them, well, it doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter, because they're the God's chosen people, okay? And they've got a book that says so. Gee, I hope in 2,000 years someone doesn't find Harry Potter and think that's how it really was. Well, there was wizards back in the past. Yeah, Harry Potter. Oh, God. So, in Israel, there was a video that was released of 6 Israeli soldiers raping a Palestinian prisoner. Okay? Now, if we go back to the event, obviously Israel's always the victim. Oh, we only attack them because they attack us. It's always But, to quote the Bible again, because I like doing that, what did Jesus say? Turn the other cheek, right? That's not possible. No. So, 6 IDF soldiers raped a Palestinian prisoner in their facility where they lock up children, and, where they the snipers plot to shoot children in the head for shits and gigs, because it's a war. One side's fight with sticks, and the other one's fight with the latest weaponry given to them from all around the world. But they were raping this Palestinian prisoner, male Palestinian prisoner. Okay, 6 male IDF soldiers raped a man, but they're not gay. Okay, fuck, it's fucking weird. Now, Netanyahu, who's, obviously the sensible one here, comes out and says, this is an embarrassment, and it's not good. Not a good look for us. So we're going to fire the guy who released the video. Not look into the guys who raped the guy. No, just fire the guy that released the video. So, yeah. Now, we are caught in this psychological operation, this 5th generation warfare, which is all propaganda. It's all influenced through the media, social media. Social media is a weapon. Like it or not, it's a weapon. I use that weapon against them by posting constant posting shit that goes against the narrative. Constant. Because that's the way that you upset the narrative. You have to constantly offset the bullshit that they're trying to post with other bullshit. Right? It's a big game of bullshit. Throwing bullshit. You throw shit, I'll throw shit. We're all throwing shit. Right? Because the algorithm, what gets served up to you is the same thing. That's how the algorithm works. It's designed to keep you engaged, so that when you're on social media, they keep on feeding you the shit that you post, so that you'll stay on the platform. Right? Programming. That's what it is. And it's closed loop programming, or what do they call it? I can't think of the bloody word. Doesn't matter, it'll probably come to me when I trip over something next. Oh yes, that's right, sugar loose. Yes, so the algorithm is designed to keep you engaged on social media, to take your attention, to take your time. It's all about your time and your attention. Now, you're going to change track, but it's still in the same vein, okay? Now, because of what's going on and the backlash against what Israel's doing in Gaza, and basically through the whole Middle East, they want to fight with everybody around, they want to point the fingers at everybody else that's a problem, except for them, right? So, off the back of people are now sort of starting to wake up and realise just how toxic and poisonous that country is, and I'm not talking about the people, obviously it's the regime, but the people, the belief system there that people buy into, the Zionist attitude that everybody else is less than. We're the goy, we're the servants, we're the scum, and they're God's chosen people. If you buy into that mentality, I'm sorry, but humanity really doesn't need you. So on a different track, but same vein, it'll all tie together at the end, don't worry, probably. If it doesn't, then, it's usually just me ranting, so don't take offense if you don't get it, because half the time I don't. I never know what I'm going to say when I come out here. I just walk along and make it up as I go along, a consciousness stream, if you like, or unconscious, whatever it is. So in New York, in America, you just had a Muslim socialist, or communist, let's just say it, communist, was just elected because from the backlash of everything that's going on over there, people have turned their back on Israel, right? Youngsters, old people, because they're all everybody's realizing what's going on, and this whole dual nationality, we have to support Israel. From all the politicians all across the world, they've all been to Israel, of course, and had the fluffer treatment, this communist was just elected in New York off the back of him on a debate stage saying, well, I'm not going to go to Israel, I can talk to Jews here in New York, right? So he was openly saying that he wouldn't go to Israel to be bought off like all the other politicians. But hang on a minute, why would a Muslim be invited to Israel in the first place? Right? Why would a Christian be invited to Israel? Oh, because in the Bible it says people quoting shit that they don't understand. So we've got a guy who's now in New York promising everything for free, and it sounds wonderful to people, because people got no money, because the reality is, and we've been through this 1,000 times before for the people who haven't been here, the creation of money is the key to the problem. And who creates the money? The banks and financial institutions do, out of nothing. Okay, if you think that the bank, you're going into a bank and they've got a big vault full of money in the back there that they can give everyone their money back if people wanted to come in and all get their money at the same time, if you think that's the reality, you are delusional. You need to understand something called fractional reserve banking. So the rule was, they keep on changing the rules, but the rule was that you had to have a 10% reserve at any one point of customer funds. Okay? 10%. So if £1 million or $1 million, whatever your currency is, wherever you are, if $1 million or £1 million gets deposited into their bank account, they have to keep 100,000 there for people who want to take some money back at any one point. They never have the full amount, ever, okay? And you'll need to understand why in a minute. That they never have the full amount because they invest your money to make them money, okay? Now those investments are stock markets, pension funds, all sorts of different things that they put money into because they want to make money off your money, okay? You're safeguarding them with your money, but then once it hits their bank, even though it might be in your bank account, it's their money to invest as they see fit, okay? Now they invest in stock markets and all that kind of jazz, and also to do loans. Now, here's where people thinking breaks down, and they think they're only lending the money that they've got in the vault, which we've deposited, out to other people or back to us. If we're going to go, okay, I've been banking with Barclays, I want to go and get a loan for a car, I go to Barclays and they give me a loan from the money that's in their bank account. That's what you think, right? The reality is not that. The reality is that, like I say, they have to have 10% reserves at any one point. Now, if they make a loan, let's just say the bank, someone comes in and says, I want to buy a house. Okay, how much is the house? £1 million. Okay, so that's not money from customer accounts that's in their bank. They don't have that. They don't have that money. So they press some keys on the keyboard and they create the money from nothing. Okay, now the con of it is, it's fraud. It's straight up fraud. It's a con. So what they do, it's all a ledger entry. It's all bookkeeping, that you can do this through, and it's all codified in law to make sure that these people have a license to print money. But it is evil, and we'll get to that in a second, right? So if they're creating the money from nothing to give the loan for the house, okay, so they've just made up that money. Now that money that they've lent out, right, is, let's just say they've still got 10% of the money in the bank account. They can only lend out 90%, right, of the money. Now, what they do to show that they've got the money to lend out, right, this is where the key is. They lend the money out, so now that money is then owing to them. £1 million or $1 million, whatever, change the currency as you see fit. £1 million lent out, yeah? So now that £1 million is now showing on their books as a debt to somebody else, but an asset to them. Does that make sense? So now they've got £1 million that's owed to them, even though they've made it up, but now that money is owed to them, okay? So that money is now showing as an asset in their books, okay? Then they can lend out 90% of that asset value to someone else. And it keeps on going on and on and on. It's a never ending money printer. Printer goes, you know. And in times where you have high rates of borrowing, so if the interest rate goes higher, obviously less loans are done, so they're creating less money. When interest rates come down, which is what's happening now, more money is created. Inflation, stimulation into the economy. Okay, this is the basic nuts and bolts of how it works. So inflation comes from the creation of money from nothing, and when you create more of something, it's like photocopying something. The photocopy of the photocopy of the photocopy, eventually it's shit, right? But it's borrowing as you print more money into creation, it's borrowing the value of that money from the money that's already in existence, which means you can buy less with the money that you have than you could yesterday because the value of it's lower. So it's not the prices going up, it's the value of the money coming down. Make sense? Okay. Then I had to do this. I know it's boring for the people who've heard it all before, but you need to understand the basic principles of how money is created. Then you need to understand the next step, who owns the financial institutions and the banks and runs them. Okay? Now, we've all heard about BlackRock and these State Street and these massive corporations, and who owns them? There's a guy called Ian Carroll who does these deep dives into who owns what. State Street, BlackRock, Vanguard, they all own each other. Right? The corporate structure is all set up so the ownership of them is vague at best, and they all own each other, and it's all very what's the word? Nepotistic? I can't think of the word. Yeah, but they all own each other. That's the basic understanding of how it all comes together. Now, what's happening in the world as we speak, a reaction to this communist saying, oh, I disavow Israel, I'm not going there. He then wins the election because people think he's the best choice because he's saying everything's free, right? But in order to give out free stuff, it has to come from somewhere. So the money has to come from somewhere. Where's the money going to come from? We're going to tax the millionaires more, or the billionaires, or whatever. We're going to tax those people more. Okay, so the people in politics who are making the rules are all millionaires. Just so you know, all billionaires. They're all multi-millionaires. I mean, look at Nancy Pelosi, she's worth $300 million. Been a politician for 50 years. Her nephew, Gavin Newsom, yes, it's her nephew, Gavin Newsom, multi-millionaire as well. Oh, it's just because I'm good at picking stock winners, Chris. Yes. Not that all the markets are manipulated at all. Now, what we see across the world is, like I say, we're living in this propaganda machine, and we're bombarded from every single direction. Okay, so you've heard me talk about a guy here called Tommy Robinson before in the UK, where Tommy Robinson was from a town where you had a massive Muslim population, and these Pakistani gangs were taking girls, drugging them, giving them booze and drugs, and gang raping them, okay, because they're underage girls, right? Now, he's been reporting on this for a long, long time, and finally cases went to court, you know, and blah, 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 right? Now, as I've said before, I don't agree with a lot of what Tommy Robinson says or what he stands for, okay? Much like Andrew Tate. You know, Andrew Tate, he says some things sometimes that make sense and it's worthwhile sharing what he says. A lot of what he says, though, is not worthwhile, and I don't agree with all of his viewpoints as well. But sometimes bad people can do good things, right? Much like me, you know, I'm not a good person all the time. Sometimes I'm a right fucking asshole. I am, you know, I admit it. I've got most of my life wrong, okay? I'm not a guide. I'm not a pillar of the community that stands up and follow me. I'm not that person. That's why you know, I come out here and do a rant to myself, because, you know, if you want to stand up and say you're the all-knowing and all-being and the perfect encapsulation of what you should be to as a shining example to everybody else, you're a liar. Show me the man, I'll show you the crime, right? Or woman, or whatever in between. You know, obviously there's only two genders, but let's make up some shit, right? So we've been living in this propaganda machine where we're being attacked from all sides, okay? Now this idea that's been put forward by the likes of Tommy Robinson that you know, all Muslims are bad and it's part of their culture to rape and pillage and blah, 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 blah. There's elements to that are true, okay? There's elements of that are true. Now, as a white European, obviously I'm from Australia, but white European, there's elements of our culture that, you know, American, British, you know, Dutch, Portuguese, French, went into other countries and stole their wealth and killed people and raped and murdered and pillaged. You know, it's well documented in the past, in, you know, slavery and blah, 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 all that kind of stuff that we've also perpetrated in other countries. So no one is blameless in this, okay? No one's right when everyone's wrong, is what I like to say. So we've got a situation now where we've had this propaganda for a long, long time. Israel's the victim. You know, they can do no wrong, even though they're raping people in the prisons and killing children and women, leveling Gaza to, it's basically a smouldering heap. Israel could do no wrong because they're just defending themselves. Now, what we've seen is this exposure of both Israel and of the some elements, well, not all, like I say, not all elements of Judaism, not all elements of Islam. All these things. There's certain factions and extremists in all these. Christians, extremists, exactly the same. There's extremists on every in every bent of life, and it's the extremists that are negatively impacting the world, and we all have to live with the consequences of that. Okay, we've got a situation where we've watched in America millions and millions and millions and millions of people pour over the border that no one knows who they are, where they came from, or what their intentions are. And, you know, they all roll up with their hand out, give me that, give me that, give me that, give me some of that goodness, give me that money. And our government's not knowing what the hell to do because they're inept and they've allowed this to happen for a reason, replacement migration, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. Now, you know, like I said, there's so many, it's not as simple as it's made out to be. It never is. It never is. And anybody can say that it is simple. It's not. We're in other countries bombing the shit out of other countries. People want to get away from that. Why are we there in the first place? Why are we there? We're bombing the shit out of other places. People leave those places. Where are they going to go to? Oh, they're going to go to the places that are bombing them, right? They're already going to be pissed off because you just fucking wiped out their whole family back in Pakistan or Yemen or wherever they're coming from, right? Or they're escaping communism because communism's so good, people are willing to die to escape it, and socialism, to go to the free West, okay? Where now we've got an open communist in the mayor of New York's spot, right? Now, this propaganda machine has been operating from every angle to enslave us. Now, with the likes of Tommy Robinson, okay? Tommy Robinson openly comes out now, and says, I'm a Zionist, I don't give a fuck who knows it, I don't care what you think, that's what I am, I'm 100% behind Israel. At the same time, he's out there, every second he gets, every moment that he gets, he's out there bad-mouthing Islam. Okay? And Muslims. Not to say there's not some validity to what he said, but if he's openly saying, I'm a Zionist and I 100% support Israel, his position is going to be the negative position of Muslims. Okay? And in some instances, it's right. He's absolutely right. In some instances, he's right. There's some people that are like that. Not all. Just like all white people aren't inherently bad, all black people aren't bad. There are bad people in every bunch. Now, we've spoken about Trump a lot, and I disagree with a lot of what Trump says. I agree with a lot of what he says, and I agree with a lot of his positions. Some of it I disagree with, but I don't think we see the whole picture of everything that's going on. And I will be vocal about things that I see that I'm like, that shit's not right, you know. And like openly, you know, supporting Israel, no matter what, we've got to give them more weapons. We've got to keep the war in Ukraine going. You know, this kind of shit, it annoys me. It really does get on my tits. And I understand why. I understand all the facets here. There's a lot more going on than what we're privy to. I get that as well. But it's the rhetoric that gets me. Now, if you've got, on the other side of the coin, you've got a media apparatus. Al Jazeera, you know, Al Jazeera is openly critical of Israel and the West because the West aligns so closely with Israel. Okay? Now, if you've got these competing media sources, one is pro-Israel, one is anti-Israel, we're getting fed information in between from both sides that's going to make it. We're going to be sitting here going, well, one second I'm saying, yeah, okay, I agree with what he just said. But then I'm finding that I disagree because this other opinion has come in to offer something that is another piece of truth, for want of a better word, from a different perspective that sheds light on it. So you can go, then you can see the bigger picture and go, okay, now I see the bigger playing field. Take a step back far enough and you can see the bigger playing field and understand that the factions within this war that's going on are openly, the battle is out in the open through media and social media. And, you know, the BBC here in the UK, which is the British Broadcasting Commission, was found to be biased about what Donald Trump said and stitching two clips together from his speech where he said, we're going to go down to the Capitol, we're going to fight. It never happened. He never said that. They stitched two clips together where he was like, we're going to go down to the Capitol peacefully and we're going to cheer on our brave politicians as they go through this process. That's what he said. But it was stitched together by media agencies all around the world with an agenda because they didn't want Trump. Why? Now, this is at this point, up until now, there's always been a danger of, because people were deplatformed off this platform for mentioning certain letters of the alphabet, namely the 17th letter of the alphabet, or Q, or as the media likes to call it, QAnon, which is not, it's Q, right? Now, that this person, group of people, whatever, started posting posts on a 4chan messaging page back into the end of 2017, beginning of 2018, I think it was. And then it went to 8chan, and then it went to 8kun, Kun, right? And this person showed up, people, group, organisation, whatever, showed up espousing to be releasing the highest level of classified material, but it was all encoded and done in such a way that it was, one of the most famous lines out of the Q posts was future-proofs past. And another one was saving Israel for last. Okay, so basically what we're going through now is this whole media campaign where we have the open battle of Islam and Judaism and Christianity being played out right in front of your face. Now, one of the other posts from Q said, this is biblical. It is biblical because it involves belief systems of people across the whole world. Okay? Muslims, Christians, atheists, agnostics, Jews, everyone across the board. This is an attack, or it's an open attack on belief in a higher power, a God, or whatever you want to call it. Universal consciousness. Everyone's got a different name for what they believe in. And the people who don't believe, they believe they come from nothing. Good luck. Good luck. No, we came from nothing, Chris. We go to nothing. All right. Okay. So something can come from nothing. Yes, the new science says so. All right, the science. Is that the same science that is settled? Is it the science is settled? Yeah, that same science. 2 weeks to flatten the curve. One jab and it's all done. Yeah, is that the same science? Bill Gates science, I think. Yeah. So there's a battle on for your mind, and there's a battle on for your consciousness, and it is this battle is there to have you believe complete falsehoods. And by believing the falsehood, the fear that ensues, people are easy to govern when they're in fear, and we have to, there's so many different aspects. It's hard to know what aspects to sort of pick out and put into the conversation. But Q was part of the conversation, and some of the things that were talked about in Q are sort of playing out now. Okay, now as I've spoken about before, I have been involved in the cryptocurrency or the digital asset world now for 8 years next month. And when I started on that journey, it was understanding the technology and understanding how it worked and what it did. And, and I hear a lot of negativity about it through, the digital ID. They're linking digital ID and digital money together because that's the natural progression, of course, right? Now, as you well know, I'm very anti-digital ID. You don't need it to take part in the digital economy because, as with banking, when you're moving money through a financial instrument, whether it's fiat currency that we're using every day, that paper shit that's backed by nothing, or whether you're using digital money, digital coins or, digital assets, and you're moving those through the digital rails, you have to follow the same procedure. It's called KYC and AML. KYC being know your customer. So if you're operating through an exchange to buy coins or sell coins or do whatever you want to do, or exchanging them, or from coin to coin, know your customer. KYC, you have to prove who you are to be able to purchase, sell, buy, whatever. Know your customer. The same rules for banking apply to the digital asset world. AML is anti-money laundering. Okay, so for you to go and put, if you were suddenly to go and put 2 million into a coin from out of nowhere, you still have to show where that money came from, because you're moving your money through a digital means of transportation still requires you to identify who you are. And this whole idea that it's privacy and all that, it's nonsense. It's public blockchains. Oh, but there's privacy coins, Chris. Zcash and Monero, and there's solutions that people are always trying to come up with to make transactions private. Good luck. But governments of the world know that governments of the world pay people in challenges. They offer $1 million challenges, £1 million challenges to developers to come up with a solution to get through the privacy layer of these tokens so that it's not private anymore, it's public. So, originally when I got into Bitcoin, I heard about Bitcoin in 2014. I thought it was nonsense, didn't understand the technology. I get it now. But the idea that people buy into, it's just some guy that created it, and he just left it all for everybody, for the betterment of society. It's not. It's created by intelligence agencies and governments. Don't be fooled into that shit. Bitcoin, that was Bitcoin, created by Satoshi Nakamoto. It's nonsense. Ethereum was created by JP Morgan and China. So don't be fooled into believing absolute nonsense. Like I say, the media propaganda machine is always there. It's always working. Oh yeah, But it's sufficiently decentralized, Chris. You don't understand. Bitcoin's decentralized because anyone can mine it. Okay, where's all the mining pools? Where's all the mining pools? And to get a little bit more technical, just a little bit, Bitcoin is proof of work. So in order to create Bitcoin, right, you have to mine it. And mining takes these computer systems that they link millions of them together to solve complex computational mathematical problems in order to create Bitcoin, right? There's only 21 million of them going to be created. Oh, it's a fixed supply, Chris. That's why it's so valuable. There's a fixed supply of XRP. There's a fixed supply of XLM. There's plenty of fixed supply coins out there. Not Ethereum. Not a fixed supply. They can create more at any point, but the price is so big. And people are like, oh, but the price of Ethereum is better than the other ones because the price is so high. And Bitcoin's the best because the price is so high, right? Who owns all the Bitcoin? Who owns all the mining? What is decentralized, Chris? So Bitcoin. So you've got Michael Saylor's buying tens of thousands of them, hundreds of thousands of Bitcoin. Who's Michael Saylor? Where from? We're not going to talk about that. BlackRock, the biggest corporations in the world. Are we going to have Bitcoin treasuries? Yeah, but it's all it's a libertarian movement created by some guy in his basement to betterment of society. Just keep believing the bullshit. I mean, you buy into it all you like. But come back to the point, Chris. Okay. So what we know is that this whole idea that you have to have digital ID to interact with digital money is a falsehood. It's a complete fabrication. It's bullshit and it's an entrapment system. Digital money, on the other hand, like things like XRP and XLM, HBAR, and all these other coins, they all do different things, and you need to understand the difference between them if you're going to buy into it. But what it means is that it takes away the power of the banks to control money, because if you want to move money anywhere in the world, from any currency to any currency, you have to go through the financial institutions, namely SWIFT. And then if you piss off the likes of America, like Russia, Iran, North Korea, whoever, they're not like. In fact, America took Russian money that was in their bank accounts, in American bank accounts. They took it. They just stole the money and said, "Yeah, well, Russia shouldn't have done what they did." Isn't that theft? Like, oh, but it's okay because Russia's bad. Okay, well, how many countries did America, England, the Dutch, Portuguese? How many countries did they invade? Are they having their money stolen as well? No, they stole everybody else's shit. So, the banking sector controls the creation of money, which means if they can create money from nothing and then lend it to you with interest, you're powerless. They have the power over you because they control your money. If you think you can live without money, try it just for a day. Just for a day. Try and live without money. How are you going to get your food? How are you going to get around? Like, everything is controlled by money, and it's created by the financial institutions. Then they lend it to you. So they make it out of nothing. They lend it to you with interest, and they charge you to use their services. Now, what digital assets do is it allows you to transfer value, not money, but value, from point A to point B anywhere in the world instantly for free. And you don't have to use the intermediary of the banking, the financial institutions. You're using an intermediary object for fractions of a penny. Whereas if you use the banks, they want to be paid for their service, right? Banks don't like it, which is why they tried to put the kibosh on things like XRP by suing them for 4 years. Suing them. Ripple, the company, had to spend $150 million to defend themselves in a lawsuit against the banks coming after them. Now, the Ripple just had an event. The CEO was speaking at the event. He was being interviewed by a lady from Coin Bureau or something or other on stage, and she said, but the financial institutions aren't going to like the fact that you're coming in and doing what you're doing and taking over their business. And he said, well, that's because the only reason we're able to do this is because, and the reason they're pissed off is they don't want competition. They don't want competition because they've provided such a shitty experience for people that it makes it's impossible to deal with them. And they don't want, they operate it's a cartel. The banking cartel is a monopoly and monopolizes the movement of money anywhere in the world. If you piss them off, you cut out and you can't move money in the world. So now they're getting pissed off. The financial institutions are getting pissed off because there's a way to get around them. And they don't like it because they're not in control of people anymore, which is why this massive uproar is going on, where it's like, oh, Russia's the problem. Why is Russia the problem? Well, they don't have a central bank that's controlled by the bankers. Russia's a problem. Same with Iran, same with North Korea. It's the central banking that is the biggest problem in this world. It's the creation of money. It's not Muslim terrorists. Well, there are obviously problems with those, the extremists there. But they're not the problem. They're look over there, squirrel. Do you understand what I'm saying? So the problem is that we're all being pointed at and looking in the wrong direction through the things that are coming into our vision through the media every day. But as more and more gets exposed about the way that information has been weaponized through the intelligence agents, 51 intelligence agencies agreed that Hunter Biden's laptop wasn't his, it was Russian propaganda. But we find out it was Hunter Biden's laptop with kiddie porn on it, and emails about Joe Biden showering with his daughter, and it's all this stuff that they knew was real, but no, it's Russian propaganda. It's not really Hunter Biden's laptop. The scandals that are being uncovered day by day. The auto pen in America. The auto pen where Joe Biden was brain dead, dementia-riddled potato is what he is. And he didn't know what the hell was going on. And all these pardons have been written for people, and all these things were done under his presidency, or residency as we like to call it, in his name, but it wasn't in his name because he didn't know what the hell was going on. And everyone knew that. Everyone knew it. We talked about it for years. But then you had the media propaganda saying, oh no, this is the sharpest Joe Biden we've ever seen. He's sharp. This is the best Joe Biden. Donald Trump, though, he's got dementia. And we were like the BBC stitching clips together to make you believe something that clearly isn't true. Oh, but Donald Trump's a racist. What makes him a racist? Well, he said this. Okay, well, here's the full clip. Is he still a racist? Yes. People have got their belief systems from social media, from the media, that are stitching things together or clipping things to make it sound. Like if you took my videos, you can make me sound like the worst person in the world, but I probably am to some people. That's fine. Don't care. Don't give a fuck. Really, I couldn't give a rat's ass. And, the day will probably inevitably come when I get a knock on the door from the police telling me, oh, you've upset somebody online. And I'm like, okay. Then we're going to have a little bit of a problem. Because I'm an argumentative motherfucker. I am. I'm an argumentative bastard, and I don't give up, and I don't give in. I'm relentless. Relentless. And if you put a bee in my bonnet, then it's even worse. I'm a horrible fucking person sometimes because I won't give in, I won't let up, and I won't let go. So if you're going to come for me, woohoo, do it. Send a whole fucking squadron. You'll need them, okay? Now, with this war that's going on, we're in a storm. We're in a battle. We're in it. Whether you realise it or not, we're in this battle, and we're going through a period of exposure of complete lies and fabrications that we've been told all of our lives. I'm old enough. Was born in the 70s, 72 to be precise, and back in the 70s we heard about we're going into a mini ice age. We're going into a new ice age, right? And then it was acid rain, global warming, right? Now we're going to go in global warming. And then when the temperature started to get cooler, it was like, oh, now it's climate change. Everything can be blamed on climate change. Now, China, for instance, doesn't give a fuck. They're going to run their industries on coal power because they don't care. They've got industries, they've got people to support. And cheap electricity is what creates a good economy. So if you can create cheap electricity through coal and have your economy booming and have people employed. I saw a stat the other day that China had lifted millions of people out of poverty through their economic activities in their country by being the world's creator of things. Nothing's manufactured here in this country anymore. Nothing's manufactured in America anymore. We're better than that, right? We don't need manufacturing. We'll just ship that off to those people in those other countries. Let them do the dirty work, and we just live off the profits of it, the goodness, So they're polluting non-stop. And we're the good people, you see. We've lowered our carbon emissions, you see, but we've shipped all of our manufacturing overseas, which means we're beholden to countries like China and India and we have Vietnam, where all of our manufacturing is done. That's not to say we should stop manufacturing in those countries, because it creates employment, creates financial opportunities for people. So there's a double-edged sword to everything, right? But if you have a dependency, us on other countries that are now developing nations that are now going through their manufacturing, if we get a dependency on their manufacturing and something like COVID or a war or some other calamity ensues, what happens to those supply chains? Where do we get our products from if we're not going to be dealing with those countries? Because they've got an attitude, because of what they've seen is that Russia just had their assets stolen by America. Should we be trusting America? Should we be trusting England with our gold in the vault and silver? Now, in the big picture of things look like they're going to fall apart. And it's war on the horizon. It's constantly talking about nuclear. Oh, it's all nuclear. We're going to kill each other, mutually assured destruction. This is a fear tactics to have you stand up and say, fuck off, no more of this shit. Now, our illustrious Prime Minister here, Keir Starmer, is still clinging to this climate change grift as a way to extract money from our pockets and put it in the coffers of wealthy donors and industry who are going to be manufacturing products to sell to make the money off the back of this climate change grift. Climate change is a complete scam. I mean, it's a complete fucking scam. Oh, but it's warm in November, Chris. I'm like, what? Oh, it's never been warm in November before. Right, it has. I've seen it. I've been in this country for 26 years now. I've seen winters that start out like this, and then it's a really, really cold winter, like we get snow in January. And like here now, we don't get a whole lot of snow, but sometimes we do. But you know, when it's warm, this the Indian summer they call it. Oh, but it's probably racist to say that. I don't give a fuck. Wear that as a badge as well. Racist, xenophobe, transphobe, you know, homophobe. I'm all of them. You know, phobeist, I'm all of them. Just add it to the list of shit that I am, and you know, bad person. But when we have an Indian summer, it's usually a colder winter, so we get, you know, it's a lot more snow and ice and things over the winter time. Over the later winter. Does that make sense? I hope so. But, you know, our illustrious leader, Keir Starmer, who's a nonce, he was out talking with children in number 10 the other day. Number 10 is the Prime Minister's residence, for those of you overseas who don't know, about the dangers of climate change and what we can do to avoid it. Now, as I've said before, you know, I have to keep on going back on these things. There is better ways that we can generate electricity. There's better ways that we can run this world, but we can't snap our fingers and transition away from oil. It's not going to happen. It's not reality. It's completely delusional. It won't happen. You know, people like me, I drive an old banged up Honda, you know. My wife has got an old Honda as well. Most people have got a vehicle that will get them to and from work. It's a piece of shit, but it's the only transportation they've got. Oh, you should just catch public transport. I live in the country. We don't have that kind of thing here. We don't live in a city, and I'm glad I escaped it. But most people have got a clapped out old car that runs on petrol. If you think you can tell those people that we're going to transition to electric and you're going to go and buy a £50,000 or a £10,000 electric car tomorrow, most people couldn't do it. And what happens to industry then when most people can't get to work because they haven't got the transportation to do so? So you think you're going to click your fingers and snap and go to, it's a brave new world now, Chris. We can all have electric cars and it won't cost us anything. We'll charge directly from the sun. It's rainbows and sunshine and unicorn farts. You know, it's not reality. And for those people who think that, fucking wake up. I mean, honestly, you're delusional. And it sickens me to talk with people who are just so fucked in the head and they can't get their head around it. Oh, but we have to transition because we're destroying the world. Well, how are we destroying the world? We're putting too much carbon dioxide into the environment. I grow plants. I grow my food. Not all of it, but I grow some of my food. You know what this is? This is a plant here. You know what that has? You know what it breathes in? Carbon dioxide. What happens if you have a carbon dioxide rich environment? Plants grow better. Then you get people like Bill Gates saying we need to cut the forest down for climate change. It is so fucked up. The whole world is so fucked up. Our Prime Minister's still saying, oh, climate change, that's our grift, that's what we have to stick to. Whereas Donald Trump's like, no. We have to keep the industrial machine moving, because if the world stops, then violence erupts. This is the thing that people don't seem to understand, is that if we have a situation where you have war, because we've all been fortunate enough to sort of not have war on our shores for a long, long time. Speak to your grandparents or your great-grandparents about it if they're still around, but they probably all died during COVID because it's the worst way. Let's not go there again. But speak to those people about how it was. Speak to those people about how they survived. Lard on toast. Beef dripping. My mum's Scottish. She was brought up that way. The thing that people can't get their head around is that if the world stops and the industry stops, and people don't have enough, then people will take, and violence ensues, and it's out of the hands of governments to control, and then you have violent uprisings. And look at places like Nepal, Tanzania, where people have risen up against their government because the economy fails. But then, firstly, they point the finger at the people responsible, who was the government, and the financial institutions. But then, when there's nothing there, where do they turn next? On each other. On each other. And this is the whole point. You've got the wealthy, the billionaires, the millionaires, that class of people. They've got bunkers so that we'll live this one out. We'll go and hide ourselves in a bunker or deep underground military bases, DUMBs as they call them. You've got the hierarchical structure of the world. We'll go on and hide away in their bunker while we kill each other over a bit of food. Look what happened in Venezuela. They were eating zoo animals when the fucking economy collapsed. We are skating on a very fine edge of ruin. And as much as people don't want to hear it, what Trump is trying to do is work on trade negotiations so that countries keep on trading with each other, because once the trading stops, when you have a trade war or you have financial wars, that leads to physical wars with guns and bombs and bullets. If it can't be solved with trade negotiations and deals being done, Trump even wrote the book called The Art of the Deal. And I'm not sticking up for everything he says and does. Of course I'm not. But you need to understand, he is a product of the times. He is essential for where we are right now, because who else is going to negotiate the things that need negotiating? If you think that the world's all going to be sunshine and rainbows, if only Donald Trump would go away, everything would be fine. You really need to wake up and smell what you're shoveling, because it's not reality. And this is the hard truth of what we're living through right now, is that we, as a populace around the world, I don't care where you are in the world, you have to stand up for truth in the reporting of information first, and then how that plays out in the political arena. Because if we're getting lied to on a daily basis, we had to go into Iraq for weapons of mass destruction, that led to a massive amount of people dying, and for what? Complete fabrication. What's happening now in the world is a resource war. For want of a... Sorry, something's running through the forest. I was just trying to see if I could picture it for you. Oh, it's a squirrel. Of course, a squirrel. See what I mean? It's easy to get distracted. Squirrel. It's a resource war, and it's a battle for resources. So with the new technologies that's coming out, the AI and the crypto revolution that's happening in our world, which is taking away the power of the financial institutions, and bullshit political obstruction, the AI and crypto revolution requires a huge amount of power and rare earth minerals to run it all, and obviously cheap energy to run the machine, so the industry keeps on going. Because if industry fails, everything fails. Okay, this is the key to everything. You need to understand this. Resources is the key to everything for what happens next. So there was Trump was over doing a trade deal with China, went all through Vietnam and all through the Middle East, and he's doing all these deals around the world to make sure that we've got supply chains are fixed, so that materials can move, to make sure that everyone is going to come together into this new world of economies that run smoothly, because they're not governed by people that are going to profit by putting the money in their pocket instead of the value being kept in the system to raise everybody up, rather than just a few people benefiting from a system that benefits them. Are you with me? Banks creating money from nothing, for instance, right? Now, we're not going to get rid of the banks. It's not going to happen. All these people are down with the banks and Bitcoin is the solution. It's nonsense. Where's all the money? People want to constantly point at the price of Bitcoin, price in American dollars. That's what they want to point to. Oh, but look at the price of Bitcoin, it's the best. But you just told me the money system bullshit. You just told me that the American dollar is worth nothing. But now you're saying, well, look at the price in American dollars of Bitcoin. Do you understand what I mean? It's delusional thinking. It's just this whole, it's a libertarian thing, Chris. Yeah, we don't need to use the banks. Okay, where's all the money coming from to buy the fucking coins? The role of these institutions is going to change in our world. And but for now, we have to transition through this period of using the financial institutions and their created wealth out of nothing to change us into a system where the benefit is to society, and those resources that are being allocated to this kind of thing, like silver, for instance. When Trump was doing the trade deal in China, the rare earth minerals thing came up, and China has put a restriction on the amount of silver that can be sold internationally, because they realised the importance of silver in the new economy. The transistors and new technology, new energy technologies, new battery technologies, all this kind of stuff silver is vital to it. So now that I've given you a sort of brief overview of all the crazy shit happening in the world, and the propaganda, and the understanding of what this is all about, resources, and the changing and the exposure of the lies that we've been told, and the people telling you the lies, and you've got these different organisations telling you their version of the truth, and it's not their version of the truth. It's a propaganda to have you believe something that they want you to believe for a reason that they're not telling you. Okay, now we've gone through all this, and I don't know how complex it is and how hard. Trying to stitch it all together is hard in my head, because as I come walking around, I'm like, I've got all this shit rattling around in my head, and I've got to try and form a picture that makes sense to encapsulate the craziness that's going on in the world. You with me? Now that you have that understanding that we've just gone through, and you can look, I don't expect you to believe a word I say. I'm a crazy person who walks around the forest talking to himself. Okay? What this is meant to do is to have you, like, I prefer people saying, you're full of shit, fuck off, you're lying. I'm like, okay, then go and fucking find out for yourself. Because if any information that's coming from me or from a news organisation or anywhere should be questioned. Always. Don't believe me. I don't want you to believe me. I want you to go and look for yourself so that you have that understanding yourself. Now, once you've got to this point of understanding what this is about, what's going on, who the players are, then you have to make decisions for yourself and your family and your loved ones about what's best for you, and how you not only survive but thrive through this period of transformation and transition to what comes next. Okay, now, that said, based on what I've just gone through, changing over to a new digital economy, we are, whether you like it or not, it's happening. We're changing to a new digital economy. There's power plays happening in the world. The financial institutions, the banking, and the war machine is losing their power, because people don't have the stomach for war anymore. They don't want it. And if war is the only solution that we have, then we have no solutions. Okay? Financial starts out first, and then when the financial fails, then it's physical. Okay? So based on that understanding, what are we going into? Digital world, AI, new technologies that require rare earth minerals. Like I say, have a look for yourself, and cheap electricity. So, if you know that digital assets, there's going to be more and more money through the financial institutions that fought against this technology. They don't want it because it upsets their business model. Now they want to be jumping ahead of you so that they can dominate the arena with all of the money they created out of nothing. This is a unique position as individuals to be able to take part in something before the financial institutions come, and they can't come yet because the regulations aren't written. There's no laws in place that govern how the financial institutions can interact with the technology, and because of that, they can't put their money into it at scale until the regulations are there. Now, the American government being shut down at the moment, longer story, we can do a video about that another day if you want. But because of that, there's still a time that we have to be able to take part in this digital revolution before the big money comes in through tokenization of assets and the use of these digital assets as money movement around the world. And you know, I was doing a party the other night. As I said, I'm a chef. You know, I do parties for people occasionally, freelance chef. And this guy said to me, I don't understand the whole digital asset thing. I don't know where it derives. Well, how do you value it? And I said, well, where does value come from? How do you derive value? How does something have value to someone? And I come back to that scene from the Wolf of Wall Street where he says to his friends, sell me this pen. And the one guy says, oh, it's a nice pen, you can write with it. You know, he's got lots of ink. He's like, no, gives it to someone else. And he's like, no, gives it to the drug dealer. He says, sell me the pen. And he goes, okay, if you sign this contract, I'll give you $1 million. And he says, well, I don't have a pen. So what's the pen worth? The value is created or ascribed by the problem that it solves. Okay? Now, or from the community. So if there's a community, there's a thriving community that places value in that because it solves a problem for them, then what value does it have? It's based on what problem does it solve for the situation. Right, so tokenization of assets, it's all going to be happening on the digital blockchains. Blockchains is just a ledger, like I said, bookkeeping ledger. So who owns what at any one point? That's all it is. The blockchain, they do different things, but that's basically what they are, right? Ascribed value and who owns what at any one point. With me? Okay, so if you know that, you can get in before the financial institutions do, before they're legally allowed to. Okay, so there's an opportunity once in a lifetime where we're going to transition from a corrupt, controlled, monopolized system of money created, moved, controlled by the banks and financial institutions to a digital asset world where anything of value can be tokenized and moved from point A to point B anywhere in the world, from any currency to any currency, instantly for free, will change and revolutionize the way that we do business in this world and run this world. And you can take part in it. Now, I'm not doing a crypto course. I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm just trying to give you information to benefit you for what we're going to go through next. Okay? Now, I've been accused before, oh, well, you're just telling me this, Chris, so I can put 50 quid into it and you're going to get rich off my 50 quid. I'm like, you're delusional. Honestly, you're delusional. It's so short-sighted. And so, if you think you're putting 50 quid in, it's going to make me rich, you're wrong. That's not how this works. And then the other side of the coin is, if we're going to go to a new digital money, who's going to trust it, right? That's the biggest one I hear all the time. Yeah, but it's online, Chris. It's not real. You can't hold it in your hand. The money that I have, at least it's got value because I can hold it in my hand, right? Right? Okay. So in order for people to take trust in a system that they don't understand, because most people don't, and I understand that, I get it. Most people haven't got the time in their day to spend researching and using and playing with this kind of shit that I've done for 8 years. I even created my own coin, a meme coin, just for shits and gigs, just so people can use it and play with it for free. I mean, it's fractions of a penny. So if you really want to get into it, there's a video in here I did a few months ago now, called Meme Coin Mania. I did a video where I created my meme coin and I put it out into the public for people to use. And I don't benefit from it. I'm giving it away for free. Oh, but you're benefiting off me, Chris. Like, honestly, it's just stupid. Oh, look, here's the rain. Oh, beautiful. But in order for people to trust a system that they don't understand, one thing that people do understand is precious metals. Gold, silver, platinum, palladium, all those kind of things. The physical assets that people can hold in their hand and say, I've got a silver coin here. Of course it's worth something because it costs money to mine it out of the ground and blah, blah, blah. All the reasons why it's worth money. It's transistors and makes technology work better. All those kind of things makes that valuable. So in order for a trust system to be established on a digital network, you're going to have physical assets that are going to be tokenized onto those networks. So when a silver ounce is dug out of the ground, you can have it assayed and stamped so that you can account for that piece of silver as it travels through the world, right? And digitizing it means you're tokenizing that asset on a blockchain. So for every ounce of silver or gold or whatever that exists in the world, if it's tokenized on a blockchain, the value from that item then adds, oh look, there's a little Chinese water deer. I'll see if I can get it on film. Where are you? Be quiet. Wait, there it goes. You see it? Bounding off in the distance there. Anyway, a little bit of wildlife for you with David. So the tokenization of assets onto a blockchain just means that the value of real world assets, gold, silver, oil, whatever is going to be tokenized, will be represented as a ledger entry onto the blockchain as a digital asset entry on the ledger. Distributed ledger technology, or oh wait, there's another one down here. There's another one there. Oh, look. I'll try and be this one. See it under the tree there? See it? Little Chinese water deer or a monkjack. Cool. It's pretty cool. I get to walk around these places and interact with wildlife, and I mean, it's cool. I love where I live. I really do. It's an amazing place to be, and I love this country, and I love them. I love the fact that there's spaces still like this, even though they're building a massive nuclear power station next door, and the forest is constantly being encroached upon by that monstrosity. It's nice that we still have these places where wildlife can thrive and we can actually interact with it. It's awesome. So, as this digitization of real world assets goes on chain onto the blockchain and is represented, that value of those assets is now represented on as value on that blockchain, which means the price of those blockchains rises as more and more assets get tokenized on top. Does that make sense? So you can have a twofold increase. We could double your opportunity to increase your asset value by investing in the right digital assets that are going to be tokenizing, and taking part in the new financial system. And if you don't know what they are, do some research. I can tell you where to look, but don't take this as financial advice, because I'm just some guy that walks around the forest and I don't want you to believe a word I say. If you think Bitcoin's the best, go and buy Bitcoin. The price will probably go up because it's being integrated into a bunch of shit anyway. But do your research on what you think is best. Bitcoin, Ethereum, those two I'm not involved in. I used to own 5 Bitcoin. I sold them all. I've had some Ethereum at one point. Don't believe in it. It's slow and expensive. Things like XLM, XRP, HBAR, ADA, TRX, and there's a few others. But like I say, do your own research. So things are going to be tokenized on those blockchains. And as tokenization happens, then the value of those assets that are being tokenized will raise the value of those digital assets. Make sense? Okay. So in addition to the digital asset, you want to invest in the physical asset that's going to underpin the system, gold, silver, those kind of things. And silver is in very, very short supply. It's very, very short supply. Most of the silver in the world comes from Mexico, believe it or not. But mining takes time to dig these minerals out of the ground. It's expensive and it's slow to get it started. It takes years and years and years to get a new mine off the ground. That bloody thing is pounding. Sorry if you can't hear me properly. It takes years and years and years to get mines operational, to dig more minerals out of the ground. There's a massive short supply of silver. I think silver is one of the finest investments I've ever seen in my life. Not a financial advisor, not an investment specialist, just a poor, broke guy that works 24/7 just to support his family. But this is what I see. And I want you to go and look for yourself to see what you think. How much is mined every year? What percentage of the gold to silver ratio, all that kind of stuff. Go and look for yourself and then decide. But there are ways that you can benefit and profit from what we're transitioning into, and you should go and look, because if you do, you can come out the other side of this transition better than you went into it. So, long video today, and I do apologise it's so long, and I appreciate the time that you've spent with me, but we have to wrap up today's video because this is too bloody noisy for a start, and I know you've got things to do, and I definitely do. So on that note, go out into the world, do good and be good. You can change the world with the way that you think, the way that you act, what you invest in, what you're spending your time on, what you're sharing with people, and what you're learning, because that knowledge, everything is down to knowledge. Knowledge is key. You know, knowledge is gold, and you can never ever lose if you're educating yourself. So do that. You can make the world a better place. But most important of all, look after yourself and look after each other, and I look forward to seeing you real soon. Ciao for now.